beautiful town of caring spirit, tradition, and community. In the heart of the downtown historic district stands St. Peter's Episcopal Church. For 200 years, St. Peter's has worked hard to epitomize these ideals of our town and Episcopal Church. On July 12, 2009, a new generation of St. Peter's youth gathered to go on a mission trip to Florida. There, our youth group would spread the St. Peter's Episcopalian spirit of love and service. Our journey would become a life-changing experience we'd never forget. This is our story.
Hi, I'm Lydia Miller and I'm part of St. Peter's Youth Group. Hi, I'm Rena Scudlark and I'm part of St. Peter's Youth Group.
Hi, I'm Jack. I'm part of St. Peter's Youth Group.
Hi, I'm Junior and I'm in the St. Peter's Youth Group.
Hey, I'm Danny Myers. I'm part of the St. Peter's Episcopal Church Youth Group.
Hi, I'm Sabrina and I'm part of St. Peter's Youth Group.
What do you think about the trip was most important for the community of St. Peter's?
I think it was really important for all the kids, especially the younger ones who, haven't been in society as much, to see that there are people who just lose their homes like that and who, can't get back on their feet, and that there are people who can help them.
Learning to trust each other, because if we want to go on a longer trip and try to help more people in a different country or something like that, we have to trust each other and know how to work with each other better. I think it helped show that people all around our country are in need, and that we shouldn't just think about our area, we should go to other people and help them too.
I think it just got us out in the world, and all the people in Tampa thought we were doing really good.
Creating a group of fellowship and getting to know one another better and working towards a better cause.
But going through middle school and stuff, you sort of grow apart, and right now, when we're all in high school together, it was great to be able to spend time with everyone again, and I loved it.
Really take the lessons that we learn here and take them out into the world. We were really proud of the kids on that trip. They really dug in. They really worked hard. They set a great example.
It seems like in this day and age there's becoming a greater disconnect between adults and youth. Especially in our community, it seems like the only thing you ever read about that our students do well is how well they do in athletics at the local schools. And what I thought was refreshing was this was an opportunity for the youth to make a difference, to work with adults who appreciate what they did. And I think it's also a way that the adults in the St. Peter's community can see that the youth that they're helping to raise are definitely contributing members to society and do make a difference and want to make a difference.
What was your favorite part?
My favorite part was just getting to go to a different place with all these fun people in our youth group and getting to stay in a gorgeous church and just giving back what I feel like I've always wanted to give.
My favorite part of the trip was just connecting with everyone in my youth group. I'm a new member, so just forming that fellowship. And while we were in Tampa, then not just meeting the people in my youth group, but then just connecting with all the lives of the people at Pinellas Hope.
Probably working on the platforms and building those, because I'm not a very hard-working person, but I did work hard on that and it was a lot of fun.
When we were on the sunset service on the beach, it was pretty cool because everybody just gathered around and we could all mess around in the sand, also while having a little church service. It's pretty unique.
Well, I kind of liked, as hard as it was, I liked serving the people because, it was like about 2 hours, was it? Or maybe an hour? And we just ran around with these trays and everyone was screaming, "I don't want the sauce, I don't want the sauce."
My favorite part was building the platforms for everybody because it just helps them out more than anybody else would do.
I think what I was most impressed with and what I liked the most was just the fact that no matter what we were asked to do or chose to do, everybody seemed to give it 100%. Whether it was peeling all the letters off the boards only to realize we were going to take them down and put new ones up, or preparing a meal for the people at Pinellas Hope, or then even when we were at St. Giles Food Pantry and they asked us to do more work. It's 88 degrees and it's we're outside and we're just cleaning up a church and helping do all the landscaping that they're not able to do themselves. So, I think every little day there was some other kind of treasure, and the whole thing was really important, I think.
Is there any specific story you can share about the trip?
Well, when we were at the soup kitchen serving dinner, it was an amazing dinner made by our wonderful chef, Mrs. Papp. This man came in afterwards and said that he hadn't had such a good meal in so many years, and he was so touched that we had come and helped him. And it was amazing because it was like we had just made his week.
Like he felt that in the tent city, they were living in the world, but they weren't a part of what was really going on. And so when we made him this dinner, it was like they were a part of real society again. They weren't just people who live on the street, who live in a tent. They were like real people again. And he told me that it was kind of like when your dad takes you out to like a big fancy dinner at a restaurant, and you can have all the courses of the meal. And it was just so special because he felt like he was a part of a family again.
Okay, well, when we were working Pinellas Hope, we took a break from the hot sun for a little bit, and we were sitting in the tent where everyone eats lunch. And this man came up and he was spraying tables. And he saw that me and Sabrina and Tavish were about his daughter's age. So he said, "Hey, how old are you guys?" And we said, 15. And he was like, "Oh, I have a daughter who's 15. And she lives in New Jersey." And we're like, "Oh, that's cool." And, he just kind of walked away. And then he came back and he was like, "Hey, could I ask you a question?" And we were like, "Sure." And he was saying, how would you feel if you were 15 and you'd never met your father? And we were like, "Well, I guess it'd be hard, but you wouldn't really know the difference if you'd never met him."
And he just was talking about how his wife left him when she was pregnant with his daughter, and how he had never seen her but had only gotten to see pictures, and he was just asking if he would ever forgive. And it just really hit us hard about, what other people experience.
Last thing, I guess, I just want to say thank you to St. Anne of Grace, because they let us stay there, they let us use their kitchen, their parish hall, they let us use their whole facility, and it was wonderful. And they didn't just do that, they let us take showers at their homes of the parishioners, and they let us swim in their pools, and in the Florida heat, that's a really nice thing to do. And it was great, and I just wanted to thank them.
My name is Tavish Papp, and I have a concussion, so I don't really remember much of the trip, but all I remember is that it was great.